Hi, Summer Low from The Exhale. Today we're going to talk about a topic that is affecting most women. It is how to overcome fatigue and burnout, if you're already there, through bioenergetics. So, fatigue, exhaustion, burnout, it affects every area of our lives. It affects our relationships, our ability to enjoy the present moment, just general activities in our lives, and it can impact our work as well. So it's really, really important that we learn to take care of our energy and our bodies and our mind, and if we have entered that state of chronic or exhaustion or fatigue, or it has actually reached burnout already, that we repair those systems, so our nervous system, when it's been stuck in the sympathetic fight or flight mode. So, the first thing to understand is that fatigue is very much connected directly with metabolic health. So, our body is this ecosystem of processes, and it is largely, our energy is largely determined by our adrenals, our thyroid, and our ability to convert our fuel through our digestion and our food to ATP, to energy via our mitochondria. So, the most prominent thing that disrupts our digestion and our ability to convert energy is actually chronic stress, which it seems pretty obvious. Most people are in a stress state 70% of the time these days due to our modern lives. And that is putting our system in a real state of stress and disharmony, and it interrupts our hormones and our metabolic health, our metabolism, and every single process. Our body is not designed to be in a state of stress that amount of time. It is really essential for our health that when we experience stress, which we do on a day-to-day basis, that when we enter that sympathetic fight or flight state, when our cortisol and our adrenaline kicks in to make us, reach a deadline or get the kids to school or whatever it may be, that we are able to revert back to that parasympathetic state, that nervous system state that is about rest, digest, and repair. So that is the state that we are supposed to be in most of the time to enable all our bodily processes just to flow. So our metabolism, digestion, our hormones, enable them to be in balance, and so forth. So, just speaking about the thyroid, that's really critical. When we have entered a state of chronic stress, over time that impacts our body's ability to convert T4 to T3. And this, therefore, when we have low T3 in our bodies, and the thyroid is kind of down regulates that process, then it limits our ability to create ATP, energy, through our mitochondria. And this is really, really critical, because if it is not addressed, it can lead to burnout and a whole host of real health concerns, chronic health concerns. So, I myself have suffered from chronic fatigue and burnout, severe exhaustion, just different levels over the years. And also it has really impacted my sleep, that level of cortisol in the body, that level of being in a fight or flight state for the majority of the time, has really just crippled every system in my body, my hormones, my digestion. I had gut health issues. I also had sleep issues, severe insomnia, and it culminated in the big burnout. So it started in a tired and wired state, and which, I was still functional and had my corporate career, kids, and so forth. And then because it wasn't addressed from the root level, it culminated in burnout, and quite severe burnout. So that is why I educate women now on their energy and their nervous system, and how all the systems are interrelated in it to enable well-being, a general sense of well-being, and to enable greater energy. And so the way bioenergetics interconnects with this is that bioenergetics is just a word for our biology, our body's ability to make energy. And bioenergetics is just the flow of energy and information through our body. So actually our gut sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the body, because the signals in our body are not just energetic, but they're also chemical. So, hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, etc., play a real critical part in our bioenergetics and our systems, how they work together in harmony or not when we're chronically stressed. So the best way actually to get yourself out of that tight and wide state and to recover from burnout, if you have reached burnout, is actually to reset your nervous system. And this is the absolute crucial step. So that is what I do with my clients. I can do it over the phone. I can teach you how to reset your nervous system through the breath. And I also do a body scanning process where I lead you through every major energy center in the body, and we clear that. We clear all the blockages, we clear all the stress, we eliminate that throughout the entire energetic system of the body and reboot it. So we're both dealing with the root cause, which is the nervous system, and also the energetic centers of the body. So in terms of bioenergetics, we have a toric field which comes up through our feet, and it circulates around like this. So that's the toric field. And then we also have electromagnetic field around our heart. And this really, really impacts this energetic state of our body. So when we're in heart coherence, so you could imagine like an ECG machine in the hospital, and if your heart is incoherent, it will create spikes like this, like really jagged, and completely without any harmony or kind of, if you imagine it like music, it's like really kind of staccato, jagged. And then if it's incoherence, it will be this kind of beautiful wave. So that's what we want to arrive at. So in terms of bioenergetics, because the heart sends signals to your body, and the gut sends signals also to your brain. Your heart and your gut send signals to your brain as one connected system through the central nervous system. Having those in a coherent state is so, so, so critical. Both the heart and the gut have their own neural network. So the heart, for example, has approximately 40,000 neurons in there. So it's actually, they say they're the second and third brain. So they all work together as one system. So that is why we need the nervous system to be reset. And you can also do this slowly over time through breath work and meditation, but it does take a lot longer than just rebooting the nervous system. The other things we can do are actually look to our environment. So you'll notice that some relationships, people, they bring you energy, and others just leave you feeling completely and utterly drained. So it's really important just to do a quick check of who or what you put into each category, the ones that uplift you, give you energy, and the ones that drain you. And you do not want to have in your environment and in your energy field the drainers, the ones who cause chaos or leave you feeling absolutely exhausted, or asking you many favors without kind of reciprocating the love and the energy, all those kind of things. And your environment is actually a really important part. You might have a toxic workplace, and you might have to assess whether it's worth being part of that. In my experience, having a really stressful job is able to be overcome through certain boundaries, certain ways that you work, certain rhythms. So it's not really the stress, because it's usually how we respond to stress, but any kind of toxic negative environment is not something you can change, and that is incredibly kind of draining on your energy levels. And it might be worth just considering what your options are surrounding that. The other thing that is really important actually is, in terms of shifting our metabolic health, is the way we eat. So a lot of these days, people are eating highly processed food, which is it's just terrible for your metabolic health. So the way that it's designed and made is that it's kind of like all the main ingredients, like flour, like highly processed flours and things, they're just ground down and treated so that the body can't even recognize them as food. Like, they just become chemicals in the body, and they have like a whole lot of additives and things as well. So it's really important to feed our body nourishing foods. And I myself follow kind of more of the Chinese philosophy ways of eating. So have all the broad categories of foods, but I orientate my diet towards the seasons. So in winter, I'll have a lot of like hot soups, which are really nourishing for the gut. Maybe some bone broth if my gut has, I've had a stressful state and my gut is playing up a bit. But and in winter, summer, I'll have a lot of salads and smoothies and fresh foods that are not kind of stewed, and they might be a bit more intensive on the digestive system, but our energy is greater and higher in summer. We have a lot of more sources of kind of greater energy from our environment. So, and then the other thing is, especially for women in their late 30s, 40s, when we're entering that perimenopause time, is to increase your muscle mass, because that actually really helps stabilize our blood sugar. So our muscles are these like amazing storage units, and when we have muscle mass, I hate doing weights, by the way. It's not something I enjoy, but I make myself do it. And doing it with a friend is the only way if you don't enjoy it, or join a gym or something. But anyhow, building muscle mass enables any glucose from eating your foods. When there's excess glucose, it enters the bloodstream and gets stored in the muscles for later usage. So rather than having these kind of spikes of blood sugar, which can really impact all your adrenals, it's a much kind of slower release of glucose and energy through the body. So that really, really, really helps your metabolism, which leads to greater metabolic health. Keeping hydrated is really important. And for women have a very different hormone profile from men. So women's cortisol actually spikes about an hour after we wake. So it's really important for us to have high protein in the morning so that our cortisol doesn't spike. Like if we're having carbohydrates in the morning, it's gonna impact our cortisol levels. So we actually want to be prioritizing protein in the morning and having our kind of whole food natural carbs in the evening. So not highly processed pastas. I'm talking about like pumpkin beans and whole grain rice and things like that for save that for the afternoon and the evening. That's actually really good to help you sleep and to just tell your nervous system that you're safe. You're getting all these fuels that you need. It's actually really nourishing for the nervous system, carbohydrates. So I would never ever cut that macro food out of your diet. It is essential. And essential minerals and vitamins as well. However, if you can just stack your protein in the morning and help those cortisol spikes, you'll have less of that kind of tired and wired state at the 3 p.m. sugar crash. So the way we eat really impacts our energy levels through the day. Hydration, did I mention that? Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Oh, the other thing that is actually really important to our energy is our subconscious beliefs. So our thoughts actually transmit an electrical signal. So if we're having these repetitive negative thoughts, or our beliefs are that the world is a scary place or whatever, so it's fear-based thinking, that over time is just going to deplete our energy. We're going to be spending our energy constantly scanning our environment and our emails for threats, okay? And that is no way to live. It is absolutely emotionally exhausting to live in a state of fear. So that is all about our subconscious programming, and that is a really, really important part of our energy levels. So when I'm working with clients, I will ask them a few key questions about how they're feeling in their day-to-day life, and we can usually within a very short time frame identify the subconscious beliefs in their subconscious programming. So it's even below the level of awareness. They're not even aware they have these thoughts, and it impacts their whole life, their thoughts, their emotions, and therefore their actions and behaviors. So it's really important to bring to light, bring to awareness those subconscious beliefs and to shift them. So rewire new, more empowering beliefs, ones that are about expansion, ones that make your nervous system feel safe, and ones that are going to get you to the place that you really want to be in your life, the relationships, the career, how you feel day to day, whether you're experiencing joy, happiness, freedom, all of that. So those are the main points for how you can shift out of a state of survival and exhaustion and fatigue and burnout, and to more of a state of higher energy, higher consciousness, expansion, using bioenergetics, so shifting the nervous system, shifting our energy, shifting our subconscious beliefs and thoughts and programming. And it has an absolutely huge impact on your life. So I've completely healed my burnout and have created a new life for myself, one that doesn't carry the exhaustion and the fatigue that I used to carry for decades. So I wish you well on this journey. Feel free to reach out. You can book a consultation or look at some additional information on my website. That is summerlow.com. And sending you love and great energy.